The white coat is a garment by which many people are identified as physicians. Now, truthfully, not every physician wears a white coat. Psychiatrists tend not to wear white coats. Most pediatricians don't wear white coats. When I'm in the practice of pathology, I don't wear a white coat, but nevertheless, you're known as a physician through the symbol of a white coat. And the white coat that each of you received today is distinctive because of the OUWB patch on the left sleeve. As I began to explain to the class of 2021 on Monday when we met for the first time, there's a special meaning to the colors and the shapes that are on the white coat that you received today. There are two circles, one blue for Beaumont, one gold for Oakland, and we use the circle in this school as a metaphor for community because you can fit an infinite number of points on a circle, but if you drop 1 point from that circle, you've broken your community. And it teaches us that everyone in a community has infinite value. There are also two circles because there are two communities. There is the community of OUWB, and there is a community that we serve locally, regionally, nationally, globally. We are a community serving our community. The representation of a community through a circle helps us to understand how to disagree with one another. You could be at 9 o'clock, I could be at 3 o'clock. As far apart as we could possibly be on that circle, we could disagree about how to take care of a patient. We could disagree about how to fund health care. But key to a circle is that no matter how much we disagree, we are equidistant from the core values that lie at the center of our community. And finally, those two circles and the patch on your white coat represent the two questions that we ask of every medical student at OUWB. It starts today, and it'll continue through commencement, and those two questions are, what do I want to do, and who do I want to be? What do I want to do? I want to be a physician, more specifically a pediatrician. I want to do global health. You're going to answer those questions by mastering a very tough curriculum, and we'll be with you to help you with that. And you're going to answer that question by mastering certain technical skills. Now, what about the who do I want to be story? What's that all about? And I want to tell you about an OUWB student that graduated not too long ago. A few years ago, I encountered her in the halls, and she was an M3 by that point, and she aspired to be a pediatrician, and she was doing her pediatrics clerkship. Now, at the end of every clerkship that a medical student takes, they're assessed on their clinical skills, but they're also assessed on the knowledge that they have accumulated through that particular specialty. And in medical schools, that's called the shelf examination. It's a standardized test to assess knowledge. So she stopped me and she offered this question to me. She said, look, there are certain students in my class on my clerkship rotation who see the minimum number of patients to qualify for the grade and get by so that they may have extra time to study for that shelf exam and get a great score on that examination. I've been offered the opportunity to shadow pediatricians and see extra patients. But if I do that, it'll be at the expense of having extra time to study for that examination. So she said, which option should I choose? I advised her to follow her instincts, and she chose to see more patients. Now, in our eyes, that was the correct answer. Now, I remember the same student when she was a first-year medical student at OUWB, and she volunteered at a flu immunization clinic in Brightmoor, one of the poorest of the poor neighborhoods in the city of Detroit. And even with so much to do that day, as medical students do when they serve the community, and many patients to see, she took a moment to calm an anxious little girl by offering her a heart that she made from some crafts material on a table nearby. You see, that girl had just received a flu shot and her mom was next, and she was just so anxious about it. That little gift calmed that child. I have to confess, I don't recall that that student was a musician. And nevertheless, That community clinic in Detroit wasn't Carnegie Hall. She may not have been a musician, but that was a virtuoso performance in physicianship. A virtuoso performance. She merged knowledge and skills with a generous expression of her humanity. That's part of the who do I want to be part that is part of your patch. We selected you, the members of the class of 2021, because of your academic brightness, to be sure, but also because of your capacity to express empathy and compassion and to dedicate your lives toward the service of others. We will use our core values as represented in that patch to help you to stay focused, to stay centered to the next 4 years together. And if you ever forget, that patch on the white coat can remind you of those values. There's so much to learn in medical school, so much. Many students have compared the amount of information to be mastered to drinking from a fire hydrant by sipping through a straw. How can you maintain your enthusiasm? How can you maintain your idealism when you're confronted with so much to learn and much of that material so difficult to master? So we have begun to ask our students at OUWB, are you studying only for an examination? Or are you also studying because at some time in the future, you may encounter a patient who will depend upon you knowing that information before you? Can you embrace the concept that if you study for your future patients, then preparing for any examination would be less intimidating because, after all, what would cause you more distress? Missing a question on an examination or doing harm to a patient? So at OUWB, we encourage each of you to study for your future patients and to remember that in that process, each of you has infinite value as a member of the OUWB community. Remember this, please. And reflect on this. If everyone in the OUWB community has infinite value, how could any test score, even an exceptional score, completely define your worth and your value? Faculty members at our young medical school recognized this, and they gave a gift from the Department of Biomedical Sciences, your basic science department, to every second-year medical student this past year. It was a T-shirt inscribed with the phrase, "I am more than a score," on the front, and on the back, "I study for my patient." And they gave that to them because that was right before most of our students sat for what is called Step 1, the first of 3 licensing examinations that our medical students take. Nearly 75% of that M2 class this past year wore those T-shirts to take the test. And they told us that it not only inspired them, but it inspired the room by seeing that. And just this past week, you know that there were some M3 students taking shelf exams, end of clerkship exams in O'Dowd Hall. At least one student wore that T-shirt to his test, to his shelf exam. Now today at the white coat ceremony, you received a garment, your first white coat. You received an object, your first stethoscope perhaps. And you're going to make a commitment shortly to the public recitation or the oath or the affirmation of Geneva. And it's worth looking ahead. You see, at commencement, you also receive a garment. It's your academic hood, which symbolizes the fact that you have mastered the curriculum leading to the degree of Doctor of Medicine. You're going to receive an object. Then it'll be a diploma. And you're going to make a public affirmation of your commitment to the practice of medicine at commencement, but there's an important difference between what happens 4 years from now and what happens this afternoon. This afternoon, you are going to recite a standard formula known as the Declaration, the Oath, or the Affirmation of Geneva. But by the time you graduate at your commencement, you, the class of 2021, will have written your own oath with the assistance of the humanities and ethics professors, Dr. DeBates and Dr. Wasserman. And the oath that you recite at commencement will reflect not only traditional values, but those insights that you have gained over the next 4 years that will make your commitment to the practice of medicine very special. At the time of the white coat ceremony, you transition into the role of medical student. At your commencement, you're going to transition from medical student to medical doctor. So, please save the date. May 14, 2021 is the day when you will be welcomed formally into the profession of medicine. It's the date of your commencement. And to get a taste of what's in store for you, we're going to go back only 12 weeks ago. The date was May 12, 2017, and we're going to revisit this event, the commencement of the last class to graduate, and look for the qualities that make OUWB a distinctive place to learn medicine. The sense of community, the sense of the value of service, and expressions of gratitude.
The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Now, more than ever, there are many battles in this world that need to be fought. You have benefited from the support of an entire medical community, and now, to whom much is given, much is expected.
Part of our charge as physicians and as community members is not only to listen, but also to be the instruments of positive social change. Change that brings us closer together.
I'm really looking forward to taking the skills I've learned here at OUWB and showing the world what an OUWB student is capable of, and the compassion that we're going to show our patients.
The community here is unparalleled. There's the community of clinicians, the faculty, the other students are just amazing. They support you, they teach you, they mentor you to kind of be whoever you want to be, to achieve all the things that you want to achieve, and to become the physician that you're meant to be.
We are entering a field that interfaces with humanity in its most vulnerable state.
It will not merely be the knowledge you gained in medical school that will set you apart as a doctor, but also your capacity to care immensely about the people you will serve.
Our charge is to synthesize medical knowledge and apply that to an ever-diversifying patient base.
You become recognized as physicians. You become recognized as healers. With the promises you're about to make today, you begin to answer the question, who do I want to be?
Dr. Sneha Rajiv Utala, Dr. Jonathan Hung, Dr. Rachel Hunt.
It feels so wonderful to be a graduate of OUWB. All the years of hard work, even beyond the 4 years of medical school.
My favorite part of being a student at OUWB is the support of the medical students that were going along for the ride with me. I could not have made it without them, and I can truly say that I've made some of my best friendships.
So pick a worthy battle. Changing the world requires more than desire. It requires hard work, dedication, risk, and utter perseverance.
Congratulations, class of 2017. We really made it.
Can you see yourselves there? Let me assure you, we can. You see, one class graduates and another class begins. It's the cycle of a medical school.